As I said, depth of field is determined by several factors: aperture, focal distance, focal length, and sensor size. Here is a look at the process that led to the choice of one image from a set in which the role of depth of field played an important part. You could ask yourself, when looking at this image, what might the aperture, focal distance, and focal length be for this image? I started this project with shots that were technically satisfactory, but not particularly inspiring. After looking them over, I decided to get closer. Gusts of wind made it harder to take a shot without too much blur. I wanted some, but not that much. Working with the lens fairly wide open also meant that I needed to use a slightly higher ISO, and I also needed to lower the shutter speed. But I didn't want too much blur, as I said, even though I wanted the background to be fully blurred so that I would get a bokeh effect. This got much closer to what I wanted, but there was one more twist. As sunset came closer, the light changed to a rich golden hue. I decided I wanted to get so close to the fluffy material surrounding the pod seeds that you could not see the pod or only see a small piece of it. Finally, at this point, I got what I had been striving for. The final result was shot with a lens that had a 105mm focal length. The shutter speed was 1/500th of a second, and the lens was open to f/4.15, and I used ISO 400. The image is dark, but with desired degrees of slight blur in places where I wanted that. The seeds and hair are sharp in the center, and the general color tones are quite warm. So this gives you one concrete example of how the choice of depth of field relates to aperture, focal length, focal distance, as well as ISO and shutter speed. Can you guess what each of those factors contributed to this final image?